Okay, moving on, let's talk about the footage. So I've seen the footage of what happened just before the stabbing, and then also I just saw maybe within an hour or two the footage of what happened after the stabbing. So I understand, I guess, why they're not showing the stabbing, because they want to be sensitive to her family, and that really makes sense. But I wish they would release a fuller picture of what is happening, because from Iryna's point of view, when she's getting on the train, she sees this section where it's populated, there's people sitting in that section. There's nothing that indicates that this is not a safe environment, because if it was, like say for example in New York City, if someone was fidgeting or acting weird or mumbling to themselves, you would see other people looking at them or just trying to move away and all of that stuff. There were no warning signs as far as the people who were already sitting in that section that there was something off about this person. There didn't seem like anybody was on guard. In fact, everyone was distracted, looking at their phones, listening to music. And when you're on the train, in a general sense, there is just persistent noise to where that makes it even harder to hear what's going on. And then when you're listening to something, you can't really hear as well as you normally would. And so there were a lot of like delayed reactions and lack of awareness to this entire situation that was really concerning. Now, in terms of Iryna's reaction, I was really confused at first because she reacted more like she got punched or something like that, and that's why I think you need to see the footage of her being stabbed to show how unprovoked, how caught off guard she was, because the way she reacted, I thought she got punched in the face, and then you can clearly see him knock her hat off or something like that, and then it looks like she's holding her face. So that's why I was really confused on what happened. Now, getting back to the passenger's reaction, so you immediately see, I think, two people reacting to what's happening, and I don't know how clearly they saw what was going on, because we're watching it and we know what we're looking for, and we can see the guy raise his arms and all of that stuff, and we don't really know how he stabs her and all of that stuff, because the two people, I think the guy who stood up, he seems like he really saw everything, because he stands up and he's trying to get out of the area. The woman, she's kind of sitting there, she's looking around and she wants to leave too. And what was most concerning about this is because the killer walked away, and you can see the two people who seem to be the most aware of what happened or the fact that something happened, they don't really kind of acknowledge the girl or try to help her in any way. And I did see some comments online where people were saying that after the killer got off the train, that is when people went to go and help her. There was this perception or this environment where it was not safe to help her. Nobody seemed to try to restrain the guy or anything like that in order to diffuse the situation and protect other people, because I don't know if she was the only white person on the train. So if he's saying, I got that white girl, that means that there were other people. If there were other white people on the train at risk, if this guy feels like he can just boldly do this in public. Now, because I have experience with the train in New York City, I don't know if people in New York would have reacted differently, because in New York, the trains that I've been on, they are set up differently to where you basically have bench seating on the outside and the middle is open space. So in that sense, even though sometimes you can't always see the other end of a train to see what's going on because people are blocking your view and all of that stuff, I feel like this situation would have gotten a bigger reaction on a New York City subway, just because people would have been rushing to get out of the way, people may have been screaming and all of that stuff, people would have been panicked. So in this situation, it was really just the two people that left that area who were panicked, but everyone else seemed completely unaware that anything was even happening. And so that's why I was curious about how Iryna reacted. Did she scream? Did she, was there any type of noise to indicate that something was very wrong here? And I know that they've reported that there was an officer in the train car ahead, and so how easy would it have been for someone to go to that car and notify someone in real time and right away, so that she could have gotten help sooner, or that guy could have been detained sooner? So it's really scary when you think about how delayed the reaction was to everything, because again, nobody in real time tried to help her, and it just seemed like everyone was just so in their own world, but they didn't understand the gravity of what had just happened.